This is Mrs. Sturgeon here to explain how to graph lines in standard form. So let's go ahead and get right into it. When you have a standard form equation, so the generic standard form equation looks like this. AX plus BY equals C. Okay, where you have both your X and Y on the same side of the equal sign, and then you have a singleton number on the opposite side of the equal sign. Okay, so this first example that we're looking at, let's talk about what do I do with an equation like this. So the method that we are going to use is called finding X and Y intercepts. So let's talk about how to find an X and Y intercept and why that would be useful. Okay, so in order to find an X and Y intercept, basically what you do is you take 0 and you plug 0 into the function for both X and Y in order to find its opposite intercept. Okay, so what do I mean by that? So essentially, if I take 0 and I plug it in for X, for example, so let's kind of play this out. If I plug 0 in for X in this equation, minus 2y equals 24. Okay. Anything multiplied by 0 is just 0 itself. So basically, if I do 8 times 0, this entire term goes away, disappears. So all I'm left with is an equation where I have to solve for y. So that's what I'll do. I'll go ahead and get y by itself. When you have two numbers sandwiched together like this, to undo it, we divide. So let's go ahead and divide both sides by -2. And I'm left with y equals -12. That's the y-intercept. Okay, so my y-intercept is -12. All right, so y-intercept, -12. Next, let's do the same thought process, except now we're going to plug in 0 for my y. So let's play this out. We have 8x minus 2, make y 0, equals 24. Now again, anytime you multiply something by 0, that term entirely disappears. So all I really need here, since all of this is going to go away, all I really need is 8x equals 24. Now let's go ahead and solve that equation. So divide both sides by 8. X equals 24 divided by 8 is 3. All right, so that is my x-intercept. And we'll talk about how to put those on the graph and what to do with them, but that's how you start the problem at least. Okay, let's try one more, and then we'll actually put it on the graph. Okay, so same kind of thing here. We're going to take 0, substitute it in for both x and y in order to find the other intercept. Okay, so as you saw before, if you substitute 0 in for a term, it basically takes that term and it disappears. So essentially, another way you could think about this is you're going to have one equation with just the x variable. So 6x equals -12. That's one thing I'll have to solve. And then another equation with just that variable, so 3y also equals -12. Those are my two equations that I need to solve. And once I solve them, I'll have the x-intercept and the y-intercept. Then we'll talk about what do I do with that? How do I get it to the coordinate plane? All right, so let's go ahead and solve 6x equals -12. Divide both sides by 6. You'll get x equals -2. When it says x equals -2, that means that you have your x-intercept. All right, so this is my x-intercept. All right, then let's solve the second equation. 3y equals -12. Divide both sides by 3. You get y equals -4. So that's my y-intercept. Okay, that's my y-intercept. So what I'm going to go ahead and do is on my coordinate plane down here, zoom out a little bit, it says x equals -2. That means I'm going to go to my x-axis, that's this right here, find -2, put a point. Go to the y-axis, that's this right here. Go to the y-axis, find -4, put another point. And anytime you're graphing a line, you only need 2 points. So once you have those 2 points, connect the dots, and you're done. Let's do one more. So let's start by setting up my two equations. So one equation is 2y equals 16. So I'm essentially just ignoring the x's and I'm ignoring the y's when I'm writing these equations, right? So I have 2y, I ignored the x, wrote equals 16. My next one is 4x equals 16. So in that case, I just ignored my y's, all right? So solve each equation, put them on the graph, and we're done. So the top equation, 2y equals 16, I'll divide both sides by 2. You get y equals 8. Okay. Second equation, divide both sides by 4. You get x equals 4. Put those on the graph, and we're good to go. So let's go where it says y equals 8. So find the y-axis. That's the one that goes up and down. So positive 8 is up here. Put a point. Find the x-axis that goes left to right. Find positive 4, that's over here. And those are your 2 points. All you need to do is connect the dots, and that's your graph. And that is graphing lines in standard form.